just had something funny come out of my ears. It's the damn slideshow just started when I was. Yay! Well, hi everybody. It's like thing one and thing two are in my ears, causing just craziness to happen. So welcome. It is Tuesday. It is the happiest hour. I've got Teetz right here, which means settle in for some Teetz's Tuesday takes. This is going to be a real fun one because if you guys have been following us on our social media and on our website, and a little bit, we talked about it last week here on stream. Teetz has been in Orlando for quite a few days, right? How long were you for, Teetz?
5 days, 4 nights, so.
And yeah, so I think we're just going to basically dive in. And if you guys have any questions at what Teetz is talking about on his trip, he stayed at Universal, but he was able to mix in a little bit of both Universal and Disney, including being at the grand reopening night of Happily Ever After at Magic Kingdom. He waited out the rain like a real pro vlogger to bring you guys a live stream of those fireworks. But so what we'll do is we'll just kind of let Teetz take it away. Tell us when you planned this trip and the whole idea behind this trip.
Well, I decided to, I don't even remember when it was, but I decided to get an annual pass for Universal, and because they were running a 3 months extra deal or whatever, so instead of just a year, you get 15 months for the price of 1 year. So I got the annual pass, and then I was like, well, I guess now I have to, figure out a Universal trip. So that's when I settled on 4th of July, because I didn't have to work, and I just kind of worked out well. So that's what I settled on. And then lo and behold, then after that, like a couple weeks ago, we saw that Disney announced, well, we're going to do fireworks. So that kind of threw a wrench into things. And I was like, well, I guess I have to go over there and check those out since I'll be there. You're muted.
Was it a wrench though?
I don't know. It gave me, I don't think either way, I don't think I would have been able to stay away for all 5 days from Disney being so close. But I think I spent more time at Disney than I originally anticipated.
And why was that?
I don't know, just because I wanted to, I guess. I definitely, once they announced fireworks, I definitely wanted to see both shows back. So that would have been 2 nights out of the 4 that I was there. But I don't know, I think overall, one thing we'll get into, I think, is while I definitely enjoyed my Universal time, and there's a lot of positives, I don't know if I could. I think maybe 3 to 4 full days of Universal would be like my max right now, and then anything additional to that I probably have to add on Disney or something. I just don't think there's enough to keep me going the way that I travel to theme parks for much longer than that.
So you did have a bunch of new to you stuff. And so this was also your first time going to Universal solo, because previously you'd been with me 1 and 2. So, and we did your first time at Universal. We did a very full first day where the parks were basically empty. We commandoed our way through almost everything except for Transformers and
No, we
Simpsons.
did Transformers. We didn't do...
Well, the second day. You and I did it on the second day.
Yep.
But that first day, we did almost everything except One Way on the Hogwarts Express, Transformers, Shrek, Minions, and that may be it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, we crushed it that day. So when you were thinking about this and you heard, before you even heard the fireworks announcements, you knew it was going to be over 4th of July, and so you're optimistic. But you also made a park reservation for your favorite Disney park that you didn't go to because it wasn't your birthday in April.
Yeah, so I definitely wanted to go to Animal Kingdom at least the one day, whether fireworks were happening or not. just because I hadn't been to Animal Kingdom then since January. And of course, I needed my Nomad Lounge and Expedition Everest fix. So I had to do that.
So let's just go ahead and get it started. Tell us about travel day. What did you fly? When did you leave? Where did you stay? Let's kick it off. And this was the 1st,
Yep,
July
July
1st.
1st. So I am always one to get the earliest flight possible.
I don't understand that.
Most of the time, I am a Southwest flyer. A couple times here or there, I'll fly other things, but primarily I fly Southwest.
Except look at what you got coming up here.
Yeah. Well, they just started this month at in Milwaukee, so that they're pretty dang new. So
you're gonna get the full VIP experience of flying on Spirit.
Yeah.
So exciting.
So my flight was
at. You to hate
it. My flight was at 6 a.m. and it was actually ended up being delayed by like 25 minutes due to some item that was needed that they didn't have, and then they ended up finding on a different plane. I don't know. It was weird. They wouldn't tell us what the item was because people kept asking. But anyway, so we got there.
Here, I'm going to stop you real quick because we have a really good question that just popped into the chat, and this is before you get locked and loaded on it. This is from Philip, who is watching us on YouTube. Hi, Philip. And he wants to know if you think Epic Universe could change things for you where you would have enough to do for a Universal-only trip. And this is great because it was something that Teetz and I actually did talk about, was Epic Universe, or what would flesh out a Universal-only trip for him. So let Philip know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so like you said, we did talk about this a little bit in chatting after my trip, and I do think it would give me more. I think I would then be looking at like 5 to 6 days for a Universal trip, because you obviously have a whole nother park in there. For me, I will get into it, but like Volcano Bay, I think that's a good 1 day. I don't necessarily need a second day there, but 1 day there, and then a couple days at the other, like 2-3 days at the two existing parks, and then depending on how much Epic Universe has, that could be another 2 days or so. So I think, I definitely think that would expand my trip length a little bit at Universal.
Thanks for the great question, Philip. And anyone else, feel free to ask questions. I'm watching the chat, and we're so thrilled to have you all with us today. If this is your first time watching, be sure to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. We are doing a giveaway, and I'll tell you guys more about it. And I'll be watching, so just ask a question in the chat, and I'll interrupt Teetz and get you some answers. So Teetz, flying Southwest from Milwaukee at like 6 in the morning, and a flight attendant left something probably like a notepad or something somewhere. So for the first time, I will tell you, Teetz is a very, very cocky flyer, which is not a flyer that you want to be. He's always very cocky, and he's like, oh, well, I land after you, but we're always 30 to 40 minutes early. And so it's lucky for him that this cocky check didn't come due when all of us were waiting at the airport for him on this trip. So he got delayed on a solo trip, but uneventful flight.
Yeah, it was good. Nothing too problematic there. Then upon
is Southwest doing in-flight service, or is it still just water? Or
it's water and soda. No alcoholic beverages yet.
That's because those two people punched a lady.
Yeah. Upon arriving at the airport, it was busy, but not. I didn't think it was like any busier than maybe some other times I've flown in. Nothing crazy. Got my bag and got an Uber over to Universal's Endless Summer Surfside Resort, which would be my first resort for this trip. I stayed there 3 nights, and I had a standard. I originally had booked a standard view room, but upon arriving, I was given a pool view room.
Wait, how much do you remember paying for that Uber from the airport to Surfside Inn and Suites?
I can tell you in a second. It was like maybe 26, 20. It was right in the upper 20s, I want to say. It wasn't crazy because I put,
Okay.
and that's about what I paid on the way back to.
That sounds about right, because I think I've paid like 32 to go to Cabana Bay, which is a little bit further into property than Surfside is. Because Surfside is right off the turnpike and I-4 from the airport.
July 1, 33. Well, yeah,
Well, that's
33
with
with tip. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
So yeah, we got there, and so I got there. I don't even remember. It had been like maybe 10:30ish. I don't know, something around there. And my room was ready already. I checked in. They're like, she asked me, do you care what level you're on or anything, upper or lower level? I said I didn't care. So I got the 5th floor and the tower 1, and went up to my room right away. Why do you?
So this is a great question. I can answer this, and you hit the nail on the head, Mr. Worldwide. Why do you fly so damn early? Is it because of the early bird dinner special, or your weekly gym rummy game ending early the night before? But Teetz is 100% like a kid before Christmas and can't sleep. So he's willing to get up at 3:30 to be on a 6 a.m. flight so he can hit the ground running and pack as much into that first day as humanly possible. Do you think that's an accurate response? Thank you for the question, Mr. Worldwide.
I would say so, yes.
So you're at Surfside, you're upgraded, essentially.
Yep. So then, yeah, I got a pool view room on the 5th floor. It was room 1519, and then it was just a standard room, 2 queens, and I thought it was pretty, size-wise, pretty comparable to what you may find at Pop Century, or the All Stars in terms of layout and size. Nothing too crazy, I think. But of course, the big kicker here with this room is it's a lot cheaper than those Disney value resorts.
So what did you pay per night? And I'll tell you what Pop is going for right now comparatively.
I want to say it was right around $90 per night, if I remember correctly. Right here.
And that was with an AP.
So it was, yeah, this was an AP rate. So it was $93 for the first night, and the next 2 nights were $107.
Okay.
So the total was $308 for 3 nights.
That's going to be like one night at Pop, but I'm going to pull it up just for research purposes. For anyone that is watching this, thinking of planning a trip and where they're trying to stay and spend money and all that. So what was your overall first impression of Surfside Inn and Suites? You said the room is on par with Pop Century. And also, you guys, if you're watching us on YouTube, Teetz has done some walkthroughs of his rooms that he stayed at. So you can get a feel for his room at Surfside Inn and Suites and to the very bougie upscale room he moves to for the end of this journey. But just first impressions on reaching the resort, check-in, all of that.
I'd say one thing I found is the Ubers have a little bit of a problem trying to get into this place because
I can tell you mailing something has a real problem there too.
The entrance isn't exactly it's not where you think it would be. It's like behind the hotel and you got to come back around. It's weird. So definitely it can be a little bit of an issue there. But overall, I really liked this hotel. I'd stay there again, obviously. And then there's the other side, the dock side, both basically the same. Dock side's has more rooms, but both have the standard rooms and then the 2-bedroom suites that you can get for larger families. And overall, I thought it was pretty great. They have a quick service restaurant in the lobby plus a Starbucks. Then you have a universal shop. There is a pool bar. The only food they have out of the pool bar is pizzas. But overall, I thought it was nice, and I would stay there again.
Did you did you eat at all at the resort? Is that where you got chicken tenders?
I did eat at the quick service, and that's where it was. I don't remember if it was my first day or if it was my second. No, it was my first day. I ate there the first day because I went to the parks and then I came back. And I noticed one thing, because I got there, I was eating lunch around probably 1:30, 2 o'clock, and the service was pretty slow at that time. They only had like a couple people working. So I thought that was the only negative to the quick service.
So just for planning purposes, I priced out, this was not a holiday weekend, by the way. So remember, Teetz was there over 4th of July weekend. So this is a 3-night stay, a Thursday to Sunday, at Century in the standard room. And with taxes, fees, and all of that, that's $488.25. So that is a sizable difference between the Surfside and in Suites and Pop Century for anyone that was considering or just wanted to compare. So there you go. That's the difference between the two. Okay. So the quick service was slow, but you were out there at like a weird time though, right?
Yeah. Yep. I didn't try the Starbucks at all, but every morning I was pretty busy. So, but that's expected. But otherwise, I didn't use the pool at this resort. It's just a basic kind of pool. It's shaped like a surfboard. Nothing too special. So no
pool. Why would you go to the pool? Because you had your second full day was exclusively beaching it. But let's go back to, so your first day, so you ate at Surfside, then you had to venture over to the parks. And what did you do there?
I first picked up my annual pass. Yep, we got the same one. And that was probably the longest line I waited in that day, was at the ticket booth, because they, of course, only had one window open, and people apparently all buy their tickets day of right now. I don't know why, but so did that, and then I went in and did Hulk right away. I believe was my first ride.
I'm so proud, like a proud mama. And he's like, can you guess what my first ride is? And I jokingly said 1 fish, 2 fish. And I was secretly hoping that it was Hulk, because when we went for the first time, he was so scared about Hulk, but then he rode Hulk the second time and still loved it. And so that means you rode Hulk one more time than Angela rode Hulk in that November trip. So I was super excited to hear that he rode Hulk. You still enjoyed it. You were still happy with your Hulk experience. Did you? Yep. You rode it again multiple times over your weekend stay, correct?
I think I did Hulk maybe 4 or 5 times over the 5 days that I was there.
I turned you still won't ride Tower of Terror, but we've turned you into a roller coaster lover, and this makes my little cat in the hat heart just explode. All right, so Hulk, and then where to next?
I didn't even remember at this point. I think, if I remember correctly, I only maybe did one more thing, and then I left and went and got lunch, and then I came back, and because then I know that night I had Toothsome.
No, you had Toothsome on Volcano Bay night.
Oh, that's right.
This night,
you went. This night I went to fireworks. Yes, that's why I didn't spend a whole lot of time in the park that day. I don't think then, because I know I did Hulk and maybe one other thing or two. So I didn't do a whole lot.
Did you do the Jurassic Park water ride?
Did not do that at all during the duration of this trip. It's one ride I did not do.
Your Tia Angela is going to be so disappointed unless you're standing with her in solidarity against that ride.
I probably could have done it Monday when it was 100 degrees outside and been okay, but anyways.
So I'm going to share my screen and just start something with no volume off to the side while you talk about what you did in your transportation and your experience to get back over to Magic Kingdom, because this was July 1st, which was the return of Happily Ever After at Magic Kingdom. And I'm going to start it, but with just very, very little sound.
So, yeah, I want to say I got to Magic Kingdom around 3 o'clock-ish, just after 3. Again, took a lift. I primarily used Lyft outside of, unless there was no availability, and then I switched over to Uber, but primarily used Lyft wherever I went.
And I will say here's a pro tip for all of y'all that are traveling to Orlando. The Lyft maps are way better and more constantly updated than the Uber maps. Uber still tries to pick me up in my mom's backyard at her house that has been there for like 30 years. But Lyft actually knows where the actual address is. So Lyft over Uber.
So yeah, so I got there at, want to say that one was around $28 or so as well. The only time it got above that is when they kind of hits the surge pricing periods, and after fireworks and stuff like that was where it got more expensive. But overall, everything was right around that price point. Got to Magic Kingdom. It wasn't too busy yet. They had started preparing some things. They had some fencing and stuff out front, ready to go for the crowds. The big worry, though, was weather, because there was rain coming in, and it didn't really want to leave at all that night. And as you'll see in this video right now, was raining the entire duration of Happily Ever After. We did kind of wonder if they would maybe delay it, because the park was open till 11. Epcot Forever was going off at 10, so we didn't know if they would maybe push it to 10 or something like that. But they did not. It went off. The only modification was no Tink, because I believe there was lightning in the area, so they did not have Tink fly that night. Outside of that, I didn't do a whole lot of riding or anything that day. I did do People Mover, because as my first time on People Mover since before COVID, because it had been shut down for so long. So I did do People Mover. I got my photo in front of the castle with the Happily Ever After sign, because that was the big thing, because Happily Ever After was back. So
you got those shitty corn dog nuggets from Casey's.
Yes, that was my next thing. Is I then got mini corn dog nuggets from Casey's, side of fries, and of course the cheese sauce.
The cheese sauce. That's the reason to go. And like I have to tell them every time, I'm like, those aren't real corn dogs. They're chicken and turkey on the inside. But Teetz loves his little corn dog nuggets. So, at least it wasn't more tendies. It wasn't a 2 tendy day.
I do want to add too, though, is because I got them on both the 1st and the 4th. On the 4th, they surge priced the cheese. It was $1 for cheese on the 4th. On the 1st, I did not have to pay for cheese.
There you go. You know what? That's a pro tip. That's a pro tip. So you had to pay for cheese the second time you went back to see fireworks again on July 4th. So here we go. I'm going to leave this up just for a little bit, because who doesn't love fireworks, and who doesn't love Happily Ever After? I can't wait to see it in a few weeks. When I'm there, I'll probably go to that or Epcot Forever every night if I have my way. Oh, hey, Courtney. Courtney loves fireworks too. And so I'm going to go to Magic Kingdom as many times for fireworks as possible, just because she says I won't go into Magic Kingdom. So after fireworks, you went to go celebrate with a couple cocktails and basically say goodbye to what iconic restaurant over at the Contemporary?
Yes, so I went over. I did not stay to the Magic Kingdom till 11. I instead left right after fireworks and went over to the Wave, mainly to dry out and then, of course, get a drink. So I went over the Wave. The Wave was open till 11. I first got the blood orange margarita, and then I also got, after that, the watermelon margarita. So both, I liked the blood orange better, but both were pretty good. And I learned that, or I was upon talking with the bartenders, they had said they had not yet learned where they will be headed during the closure. They were hoping to find out this coming week, because they close pretty soon, the 15th. So,
yeah, and so what I've heard from bartender friends is they need more people to go bartend at the Poly, And the Poly is one of the hardest places to get a transfer for a bartender job because before COVID, you had to pass an animation test, which means basically you had to be able to work any kind of shift at Trader Sam's if you needed to, even though on any given night, there's only one bartender and 2 to 3 servers in the room to make up the bar service staff. And that proved to be really prohibitive for a lot of great bartenders coming over to elevate the service at the outdoor lounge of Trader Sam's, Tambu, and just across the board at pool bars and stuff like that. So I've heard that Poly, with everything reopening and the reopening of Trader Sam's on the horizon, has waived the animation test for bartenders that would like to transfer, that need to be relocated or transferred to somewhere. Poly has waived the animation test for them. So that is awesome because there are so many great bartenders out there that would be perfect fits at the Poly, and just because they can't do the Trader Sam's bits, they're being held back from that. So we also have the Citricos Lounge opening up at Grand Floridian, which is going to need really great bartenders. So hopefully these guys will catch on somewhere that's really great and effective and enjoyable for them. And you loved the Wave, so.
I do really like the Wave, so I hope it doesn't. We'll see how much it changes. At least I hope they keep the bar aspect so we can, go in there, post fireworks or something, have a beverage.
It'd be silly not to.
Yeah.
So then after you had a couple marks, you hopped in an Uber, went back to Surfside, and tucked in for your first night of sleep at Surfside. You woke up the next morning, and what did you do?
Yeah, so next morning I had plans for Volcano Bay. This was going to be my first time at Volcano Bay. They had early hours beginning at 8. I didn't make it right for 8 o'clock. I got there right about 8:15, I think. So I did get some of those early hours in, but yeah,
So in previous planning, you had thought about maybe reserving, because you were by yourself. And when's the last time you've been to a water park, or have you been to a water park ever?
I have only been to Typhoon Lagoon, and it's probably been, I think I was like, it's been at least like 10 years, probably 10, 13 years. So
yeah, so you were slightly concerned about, oh no, I didn't want to do that. Not my face. You were slightly concerned about a place to sit and called and spent some time on hold for premium seating. So tell everybody a little bit about that.
Yeah, so like maybe 2 weeks or so before I left, I called up and checked into premium seating because they have both cabanas and then like chair rentals essentially at Cabana Bay. The cabanas, just for myself, I didn't think I'd really need a cabana, and nor did I want to pay, for a full cabana just by myself. But
I could tell you what the price for that would have been.
Yeah. So I thought maybe premium seating would be okay because then it has like a lock box with it, and then it has servers, so you can order food from servers right from your chair and stuff. And upon researching, and they don't really say this, but they do say, of course, depending on the season and time of year, whatever, pricing can increase, but there's really no standardized pricing. So what I was seeing was like most people in like off season were paying like $60. So I was thinking maybe, it's going to be like 90-ish, whatever. I called and they're like, it's going to be like 150. And I was like, let's just hold off on that.
Yeah. And so after your day at Volcano Bay, you got there early. And so even though you didn't do the full extra hours, I'm guessing you went Krakatoa first for your tapu.
And when I got there, it was right now. So I just got right in line right away. Probably waited maybe 20 minutes. So it wasn't bad at all.
All right. So tell everyone about your Krakatoa experience and what that was like, because this is brand new water park technology. It was a first for me too. So I'm interested. Teetz and I haven't talked about this. So I'm interested to hear his thoughts on Krakatoa.
So I have been on one or two other like water coaster type rides here in the Wisconsin Dells. That's a big water park area here. And yeah, so there are a couple there. This one I think is obviously more advanced, a little different than those. For a for a solo person, they make you sit in the third seat. There's 4 seats in each boat. So if you're a solo, you sit in the third seat. Usually it's lightest to heaviest in terms of how they load people. And one thing I do, it's here at Krakatoa and a bunch of other attractions, is they have like essentially scales on the ground when you're like loading at attractions. So I thought that was kind of cool how they weigh everybody before they go on, to make sure.
Unless you were 3 women and they're like, you got to be under 450 pounds, and we're like, no, just think light thoughts. Think light thoughts.
So yeah, I thought, I didn't know I had no idea what to expect before I got on this. It was faster than I thought it was going to be.
It's pretty impressive.
So yeah, some of those like launch hills up, or it's like, whoa. But
I was like, how is this happening?
Yeah. So I ended up doing that twice. I did that. That was my first thing. And then I went back later with the return time and rode it again. I did pretty much everything you could do. Those big, like 5 or 6 person raft rides, they don't let solos on those. And then I didn't do the drop slides because I'm not going to drop from a box straight down to my death.
And so those are the ones that are high up on the volcano, and you basically stand there and the floor drops out of you.
I wasn't doing that.
We didn't do those either. So we'll have to also, but I think the big float ones were like Hanu and Moana.
Yep.
You would enjoy, and so we'll have to take you back with a group because those are really fun. So I told Teetz he had to go to the Fearless River like ASAP and validate. We spent at least 3 hours in the Fearless River when we went for our Volcano Bay Day, and I don't know why. You couldn't pull us out of it.
Yeah.
We were like a toddler on a splash pad. They're like, no, we don't want to get out. What did you think of the Fearless River?
So I went like 3. I didn't spend like 3 total hours in it, but I probably spent maybe a cumulative of that because I like went in for a while, then I got out, then I'd do something else, then I'd come back and do some more. And so I think I was in there at least 3 times. And that is, I mean, that's like everything I would want to. I know like some people just like to lay and float in a lazy river, which they do have a slower one, which I did that too. But I don't know, this was just a lot of fun. I felt like I was just being like Superman. I put my arms out like this and just like went around the
Angela
corner.
did that, and I grabbed her by her feet and I steered her.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then like the one section has like the waves come through, and I don't know.
It's so unique. What did you think about the theming? Because I told Teetz that I thought he was going to have his mind blown and he was absolutely going to love Volcano Bay, because even though when you go up some of the slides, you are right over the highway or Turkey Lake Road in a residential area. I felt just so immersed in the entire Volcano Bay vibe. I felt relaxed and transported to this kind of area or island that they created. So what did you think? Because you're big on immersion and theming.
Yeah, overall, I think maybe the only time I really, because was the oh no and oh yeah slides. You can basically see the freeway from there and stuff. So that was the only kind of time maybe I was taken out of it. But overall, like you don't feel like you're, there's a freeway right outside you or anything. It's just you're in this water park that's like I said, I've only been to Typhoon Lagoon, and of course that's themed as well, but I think this is like a level above that. Right when you walk in, there's like a talking like tiki statue, or I don't even know what to call it, that like talks to you and stuff.
When you're waiting in line to scan in and get your tapu tapu in the vestibule, like that Palapa vestibule.
Yep.
Yeah. He's like, take this stuff out. Get ready for this. This is what's going on today.
Yeah.
And then he falls asleep.
So that was fun. And it just overall, I mean, I don't know. I definitely really enjoyed things overall. And I can't wait to go back and do it again. One thing I did really like is all like the pathways. They have like little sprinklers on the
Oh,
pathways, so they keep them
that's a Florida
wet.
thing, though. Yeah.
Well, I know you don't really see. I mean, we don't do that here in Wisconsin, so.
Because you don't have to worry about the 100-degree sun blazing down on you. Yeah. So what did you eat and what did you drink at Volcano Bay?
So I went to Kohaloa Reef or something. I forget Kohaloa something. I forget the full name. And they had burgers and flatbreads and sandwiches and stuff. I got a pulled pork sandwich, which actually had a slice of pineapple on it, which was interesting. Can't say I've had a pulled pork sandwich with a slice of pineapple on it before. But so I had that, and then a Volcano Blossom beer, which was pretty good as well. And so that was my lunch. And then later in the day, or maybe like an hour after that, I got the Waturi Fusion ice cream, which is like
you did. I saw that.
That is like the Volcano Bay specialty treat that they have, which was really good. Definitely would get that again as well.
Because it's like strawberry and lime and pineapple all swirled together, and it is, it's fantastic. You sent me that. I was like, I hate you. I already hate you that you're at Volcano Bay because I love Volcano Bay. It's shut up. I could probably spend multiple days there.
I can see it.
Probably after 4 because so if you're thinking about doing a Universal Orlando annual pass, which Teetz and I have the same one, we're both preferred pass. It's like this royal blue preferred pass, 3 parks. It's a step down from the premier one. You are blocked out of Volcano Bay during July and August, but not for the whole day. You can go in after 4. So I think that's going to be my plan when I'm in Florida is, oh my gosh, Mr. Worldwide, stop. So this is, thank you for the comment, Mr. Worldwide. I think this is going to Epcot Forever Day. So I'm going to save that for this, for that point in time. So after Volcano Bay, you did have dinner reservations somewhere, correct?
Yeah. I did want to say, because like I said, or like you said, I am blocked out currently from Volcano Bay. So I did buy a 1-day park ticket to go to Volcano Bay that day. So for dinner, I had reservations at Toothsome, which again was a new to me restaurant. And I was pretty excited to check that out. I wasn't sure what exactly I'd be getting, but I ended up, of course, with, if you know me well, a good old burger. But not only a burger, it had a fried egg on it as well.
Your favorite burger has a fried egg on it. So that's the best. That's the best Teetz-ism is I like a burger with a fried egg. So if you're in Wisconsin and want to open a burger restaurant, this guy will be here every day as long as you have a burger with a fried egg. So how long did you wait to get a table? What was your table like? What was a Toothsome experience like?
So upon checking in, there was like a line out the door when I got there. My reservation was at 5:15, 5:30, around there sometime. So finally, once I got through the line to check in, I only waited maybe 10 minutes then for my table, so it wasn't too bad. And then I think part of the problem is everybody was going through one door for some reason, and there's like a gift shop plus like a chocolate shop or something in there, so that everybody's like doing different things as they're going in, so it's just like a crowded mess in like the entryway lobby area of the restaurant. But I was seated on the second level, and I they have like the second level, I know they had like screens around you, like showing like the chocolate shop, chocolate factory kind of theming, and they they had the QR. Some restaurants still did like the QR code menus. Some did not. Some did do QR codes still.
Okay.
And so and then for my beverage, I did get an old fashioned. They had like 4 old fashions on the menu.
Mr. Worldwide, did you hear that? Teetz got an old fashioned.
This was called the Revolutionary Old Fashioned. And I don't remember what it all had in it. I do have it somewhere saved here. 4 Roses Bourbon, Creme de Framboy,
Framboise.
yeah, whatever. I can't.
Cointreau.
Yep.
Cointreau, which is in a margarita.
Sugar and Peychaud bitters.
Peychaud bitters. Oh, that's a good one, Teetz. Good job.
So, it wasn't bad. Wasn't like my favorite thing I've ever had, but it wasn't bad. So yeah, that was, and then I did look at the dessert menu, but I did bypass. I did not get a massive shake because I didn't want to die and overload, because I did want to go back in the parks and do some things at night. So that's why I did not go for dessert at Tucson.
Because you can't meet a raptor with a belly full of milkshake.
Yep.
Is that true?
Well, that's not the first thing I did right after dinner, but it is one of the things. Well, so we'll get there.
So keep going. Did you get to see any of the steampunk robots or anything like that? So yeah,
they weren't walking around right now, but they did have like a little like station set up in like not necessarily like the entryway, but just once you're inside the restaurant, they had a little station set up where there was 2 individuals dressed up like doing little, show bits or whatever right there. So
you still got some of the experience. So after Tucson, where you had your burger with an egg on it and your old fashioned like a grown up, and I'm so proud of you. I'm guessing you went into Islands of Adventure.
That I did, and my first thing I did was Hagrid's. I had to get on Hagrid's. My favorite, at this point in time, my favorite Universal ride. And so
this is your first time since y'all rode it 3 times in one day.
Yep.
On our last trip, it was only at night, and then we all rode it daytime the next day. So again, this is you doing Hag Ride at night. And how was the experience on Hag Ride just the same for you, or?
Yeah, definitely. It's still great as always. It was posted at an hour. Single rider was closed at this point in the day, so I couldn't do single rider. So I waited the hour in line. It moved pretty quickly, so I can't complain too much.
Still no pre-shows though, correct?
No pre-shows. You just walk straight through. This was actually the first time I sat in the sidecar, because the previous times I had all ridden on the bike.
We always let you ride. Well, I always had to ride in the sidecar because I was wearing a dress that day, so I wasn't sitting on the motorcycle in a skirt. So everyone got to have plenty of times on the motorcycle.
So obviously still great. Prefer the bike, but great nonetheless. And then after that, I went to Forbidden Journey because it had a posted 15-minute wait.
Maybe I should have worn a Harry Potter stuff instead of Cat in the Hat stuff.
And so I went to Forbidden Journey, and it was basically a walk-on. Actually, it wasn't even 15 minutes. I just walked right on. Now, as for Courtney, some pre-shows are back, so
the Forbidden Journey ones for sure are. You just walk through them.
Yep.
There's one in Hagrid's where Hagrid is talking about the motorcycle and like introducing you. And that's also when they let the express pass and the single rider line come in there. So I'm unsure of why that one isn't really running right now.
Yeah.
That seems interesting to me.
but I think Hagrid's might be like the only one not running a pre-show. But so yeah, I did. Then I went and did Forbidden Journey. That was still fun.
And then you tried to baby out of Velocicoaster, and we had to call in reinforcements to convince you to do it.
So then I went and sat outside Velocicoaster, looking at it like, do I want to do this? Do I think I can do this? Am I really going to do this? And single rider was closed as well on this, but I also wanted to see the full queue at least once. So I was kind of like, I don't necessarily want to do single rider maybe on my first time. But and maybe it could be my last time too. But so I got in line. It was posted at an hour.
He's like, I don't know. I think I'm just gonna skip it. Do I want my first ride to be at night? I'm like, yes, because you can't see anything, and the light package is apparently amazing. So if you're hurtling towards a pole or the water, you can't see it because it's dark outside. So yes, do it this time. We also called in his mom and his sister to convince him not to be a baby.
Which then after the fact, well, I was gonna say that after the fact, my mom said she watched the video of it online, and she's like, "There's no way in hell I'd do that."
Of course.
Yeah.
So take us through the queue, because you are the first CLC member to go on Raptor, on Velocicoaster, which I have been obsessed with for almost a year now. Like, if you guys saw any of our April videos, 1 and 2 went and stood, like a security guard let us in to just go take pictures of it running, and we really tried to throw money at him to let us get on it and do a test ride, and that didn't work, but we got to take some really cool videos. So I'm really jealous that Teetz is the first one of us to go on Velocicoaster. So give us the whole vibe, the feeling of the queue, everything. I want to hear all about it.
So right now they're only doing single rider and standby, much like Hagrid's is. There's no express for Velocicoaster, which I think is kind of smart. Plus, the way they load it, it moves really quickly. But upon entering, basically, if the line's over like an hour or more, you're going to go left into the outdoor queue and then come back inside later. The outdoor queue is just along the water, and you're right next to what they call the Masaurus roll as part of the ride. And so then you come back in, and then you're in what probably the most shared picture of the queue is. You see like 3 or 4 raptors like in a circle, and it's the lights are blue, but then they'll flash red and white at times too. So that is probably like your main part of the queue. Not a whole lot in that room except a bunch of switchbacks. Then you go into the next kind of around the corner, and then there's like a pre-show video. Not really a pre-show because you don't stop for anything. It just plays continuously as you walk through, just kind of explaining Velocicoaster. And then you go to the next room, and this is where you see the Raptor animatronics. And so they're like in their cages, like if they were getting like an exam. No, I did not, but
not in the queue, at least. Not in the queue.
So then you see like the raptors up close, and this is probably the best part of the queue, because I mean these animatronics are really well done, and they're like breathing right there, and it's pretty incredible. And then after that, you go to the locker system, which this is a brand new locker system for Universal. There's basically, it's like a box, and there's 4 sides. The 4th side is just single riders only, but they're double-sided lockers. So when you go in, you put your stuff. You're going through the queue, and essentially the locker system is part of the queue. So you put your stuff in, and then you don't see it until after the ride when you're on the other side of the lockers, because then you pick it up on the other side since they're double-sided. A lot of people get really confused by this because they're like, well, how am I supposed to get back here and pick up my stuff? So the team members are just in there repeating, It's double-sided. You'll get it on the other side. Don't worry. And then you go through the metal detectors right there, and then you go upstairs into the second level where your load station is. There's a few more switchbacks in there, and there is a video that plays with Claire and I forget Chris Pratt's character name. Owen, I think is no Owen. I don't know.
Owen, yeah, it's Owen.
So they do a whole like pre-show video in there. How about and Chris Pratt's all like, no, we don't. This isn't good. You better turn back now. And Claire's like, no, everything's fine. We're all good. We tested. We're good. So that's the bit in there. And so then you get to the load, and the train is. It's not your typical, maybe what you'd think in terms of like ride vehicle.
What's your system?
So the harness comes down over your head, but it doesn't come over your shoulders. It just comes across your lap. So there's nothing holding you in.
It's like Rip Ride Rocket. Oh no, Rip Ride Rocket goes left to right.
So yeah, so it's kind of like. So think of like Hagrid's comes down your lap, except this just comes over your shoulders down onto that same.
But just the lap, so it doesn't hold your shoulders back.
Yeah,
just
no
the
shoulders.
Lap part.
Yep.
Oh shit.
So,
okay.
And it's elevated.
So is this when you peed yourself just a little?
No. So
because at least with Hulk you have the shoulder bars.
Yeah. So and the seats are elevated too. So unless you're like 7 feet tall, you're not touching the ground floor of the ride vehicle either. So your feet are dangling. So then
did you get real nervous? Do you think you had clammy hands at this point in time?
Well, if you remember, I did say after I got off, I had like the coaster sweats. I was like, it was like.
I forgot about the coaster sweats. I forgot. So, you're like, I have to go sit. I have to go sit down for a minute and think about just what happened.
Yeah. So you get on and you essentially turn a corner, and then you get into the raptor cage, and this is where they're going to release the raptors, and you're going to basically race them. And so the raptors are on the sides of you, like the walls are like shaking and whatnot. A bunch of effects are going on and lights and all sorts of stuff. And plus at night, because it's nighttime now when I'm riding, everything's kind of amplified in terms of the lights and effects. And then you launch off, and it's just like I'd say the first half is just a bunch of twists and turns, and you
so
go
it's like
down.
It's like the launch from Slinky Dog, is what you're telling me.
Faster, and you do go upside down, but
okay.
So then you get to the second launch, and this is where you go then 70 miles an hour, and then you go up to the top hat, you twist up there, and as you come down, I don't even think like this is the best / worst part of this ride, because you come down though, but then you go down through and you do some more like barrel rolls, and then it's just like, I don't know, it's hard to describe. But the best part I think is the Masaurus roll over the water. It's maybe like a millisecond you're hanging over the water, but it feels like you're there for like 30 seconds just falling. You're gonna fall into the water. It's like incredible. It's hard to explain.
So I will tell you that Teetz finished. He said he had the coaster sweats. He had to sit and think about it. He wasn't sure he was going to go on it again.
Yeah.
So that was Flossie. Was your last ride of the night?
I think so. I don't remember doing anything else.
So yeah,
so I did that, but then I stayed around at night because we went and I did the Hogsmeade Hogwarts Castle show.
Oh, that's right, to see the Hogsmeade Castle show.
So that was the only other thing I did that night.
And then after that, you just went back to Surfside. Did you stop in City Walk and go to Paddow's or anything like that?
Yep, that was my Paddow's night. So then City Walk, I went and sat and got a hurricane, of course, at Pat O'Brien's in City Walk. The piano section was full, so I sat in the other bar just outside the doorway, so I could kind of see the piano bar and the pianos, but I wasn't in that room. And so I had a hurricane, sat there for a while, and then I mobile ordered Voodoo Donuts because I picked those up on my way out. Got the churro donut because Velocicoaster is the churro stand. And then the 4th of July specialty donut as well.
And you were 50-50 on those donuts, but you've always been kind of 50-50 on Voodoo Donuts.
Yes and no. I think the one thing I would have liked the 4th of July donut more if it was just like cherry filling or something, but it was like they had like actual cherries in there, and I was like, that's kind of weird. I didn't like the having actual cherries inside the donut.
Yeah.
But overall, they were fine. The churro donut was probably my favorite of the two.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and fast forward. You woke up again on the 3rd, did some Universal. Or was this Animal Kingdom?
Third, I went to Animal Kingdom right away. Yep.
Animal Kingdom Day. And then you went to Epcot for Epcot Forever that night. Correct?
Yep.
And then, so we'll just kind of fast forward through that. Your resort change came the next morning after Epcot Forever. You were relocating from Surfside Inn & Suites to another Universal property. And this time you were staying at their version of Deluxe, which is called a Premier Hotel.
Yep.
Which the legit perk of this is not only do you get early entry, but if you stay at a Premier, you get unlimited Express Pass. And which resort did you choose to stay at out of the Premier tier?
So, yeah, of the Premiers, there's 3 resorts. I did use a travel agent rate for this one. So, of those, the cheapest was Portofino Bay. Royal Pacific was just like $20 more, so there wasn't a whole lot of difference between the two, but I went with Portofino Bay because when I was looking prior to that with like AP rates and stuff, Royal Pacific was always the cheaper one versus Portofino Bay. So I'm like, well, here it's Portofino Bay is cheaper, so I'm going to try that one because it seems Royal Pacific tends to be cheaper more often than.
Yeah. So Portofino Bay was, well, that and Hard Rock were built right around the same time. How did you enjoy the theming? How did you enjoy your room? How did you enjoy the resort in general?
So the resort, it's more secluded than I thought it would be. It's pretty hidden, which I think is kind of nice given the theming. You pretty much can't see anything of the outside world from Portofino Bay, and given how it's set up, as like you're in Italy or whatever, it's really nice, and they have the whole waterfront area. Some of like a lot of they have waterfront facing rooms too. You can have. I had a standard view room, just overlooking a pathway outside. And then one thing too that I wasn't expecting is because not all the rooms have balconies, but my room ended up having a balcony. I was on the 3rd floor in the east wing of the resort, in a king room, and the room was huge. I mean, the bathroom was probably, probably 3/4 of the bathroom, like the size of the bathroom, was what the size of the whole Surfside room was. Like the bathroom was just massive.
I'm just starting kind of a slideshow of everything we've talked about so far, so you can see rooms and stuff.
Yeah.
As we're talking.
So yeah, that's Surfside, pretty standard room. That was the lobby. But in terms of for Portofino Bay, they have a few restaurants on site too. I did not eat there at all. They also have a Starbucks. They have a store, a Universal store there. They also have a gelato shop, which I was going to go to, but then never ended up going to. But just the resort overall is just really, really nice. I would 100% stay there again.
So I'm guessing you paid around $320 all included with taxes and such for one night there.
Let me see in 1 second.
Which
It
seems
was-
extreme, but you also got Express Pass for your check-in day and your checkout day. So that gave you 2 days at Universal with Express Pass.
Prior to tax, it was $279 for the one night.
Okay. So do you feel that the Express Pass amenity was worth it for you to stay there?
Yes and no. I kind of wish. All right, because I think on some attractions I didn't really need it. I did utilize it on Spider-Man and Hulk because those waits were around an hour or so, and I did use it on like Despicable Me and stuff because I didn't do that last time, and I wasn't going to wait an hour for that, obviously. So I used it there, and you can't use it, of course, on Hagrid's and Velocicoaster,
Same.
which is basically the 2 rides I would want to ride the most, anyways. And so I feel like I used it on pretty much as much as I could, but I was kind of surprised that the waits weren't longer than they were, given the holiday.
Okay.
I didn't think waits were all that bad for really anything. Hagrid's was probably the longest on the 4th of July. It was probably the longest wait in the park at 90 minutes. Nothing else really got over that.
Was Single Rider working at that point in time or no?
Yes, on the 4th. I don't think I rode it on the 4th, but I did ride it on the 5th, and I did use Single Rider that day.
Oh, that's nice. So yeah, now we've moved into Portofino Bay.
Yep. So that's the lobby
so
bar. But that wasn't open at this point. There is another bar out here in this area that was open, but the lobby bar was not. So
that's a great goal.
Yeah. And I did use the boat once. And then
that room is beautiful.
Yeah.
That room is way too that room is way too nice for you. Yes, you'd be sleeping on a blow-up mattress in the bathroom.
The love seat actually does open into like a sleeper, so it does open up into another like bed for a person. So I think you could sleep probably three people in that room, 4 people then.
All right, you get the little bed. And then so of course back on July 4th you went back to the 4th of July picture that broke the internet.
I guess.
Well, there you are, happily ever after. Look at those crazy hurricane clouds in the background. Cheese curds, really? You went
had to get your cheese curds, yep.
And wings.
At least it wasn't a burger.
Oh, this is the Bourne. Oh my gosh, did you love the Bourne show?
So I wasn't sure what to really expect with that show, but I think my expectations were exceeded. I thought it was really cool. They use, for people who are familiar with The Mandalorian, they use like the same kind of technology in how they film that show, and there's like a rounded screen on the back wall, and
it's moving along,
and essentially it moves with the show as it's going on, and how they bring in set pieces and then bring them out, and just how everything happened. It was just really cool to see that.
Yeah, so it's not only is the stage a revolve, the screen is a reverse revolve. So the screen is going one way while the stage is going the other. It's just so cool. I think the queue and all the rooms they hold you in to get into the Bourne room are also really, really cool. I think that's a triumph. Did you do the makeup show or no?
No, I did not.
So the Bourne stunt show was the only thing you did. So, all right. Give me your top 3 favorite things, your top 3 bottom things from this trip, Teetz.
Number 1 is going to be Velocicoaster.
I knew it. So go ahead and tell everyone what your favorite ride now is.
So Velocicoaster, which I ended up doing 3 times in total, was going for a 4th, but I got rained out on the 4th one. while I do still love Hagrid's, that's going to be number 2 on my favorite things at Universal. Velocicoaster, I don't know. It's just
All right, so I'm about to ask you a really tough question. Is there an attraction at Disney that is a must-do over Velocicoaster for you?
Well, I mean, because they're 2 different parks, away from me. It's hard to, because like I have Disney must-dos. Like when I go to the Magic Kingdom, I have to do Big Thunder. Like that's my favorite Magic Kingdom ride. So, and that's, a lot of that's nostalgia reasons. But in terms of maybe experience,
all right, so if I told you for the next 5 years you could only ride Velocicoaster or Big Thunder, what are you picking? Ooh, Richard throws out this one.
Well, and that's another one too, is like, and I didn't go to Hollywood Studios at all this trip, of course, but I mean, as a big Star Wars fan, Rise is, right up there too. That's really hard. I don't know. Because I'd be really disappointed
Thanks for the question, Richard. That's perfect. Thank you for putting him on the spot with that one.
I would really be sad, say, like you said, for the next 5 years. I would really be sad if I say I couldn't ride Big Thunder for the next 5 years, but I'd also be really sad if I couldn't do Velocicoaster either. I don't know.
So all right, like I'll make it a little bit easier. All parts combined for a trip, you only get to pick one e-ticket. Big Thunder is an e-ticket. Rise is an e-ticket. Obviously, Hagride and Velocity are e-tickets.
Well, I will. If you put it that way, I'll say Velocicoaster, because one thing I did say the other day is I need to find a way to get back there soon to ride it again.
To ride Velocicoaster again.
Even if I just went to Universal just to do that, I would be happy.
If you have an annual pass, you could just walk in, walk out.
I know.
Okay, we'll figure it out.
So yeah.
So all right, so Velocicoaster. So Keys made it YouTube official, y'all. Velocicoaster is Teetz's official #1 ride at Olive Theme Park Orlando. Oh, this is a really great question too, here from Mr. Worldwide. What was your favorite bite of food and your #1 beverage of the trip?
That's a good question. Beverage, maybe. Well, of the trip, probably a Lamu libation for a beverage, because I did get.
I know
one.
that doesn't count. That's
but
always been your favorite.
If we go outside of that, I did actually really like the Volcano Blossom beer at Volcano Bay. That was really good. Hurricane, that's always good too. But maybe for food, I don't know. That's kind of tough. I do really like the burger with the egg, but it wasn't like it was the best burger I ever had either. Maybe you probably hate me if I bring up the mini corn dog nuggets, but I mean, really happy those are back as well.
They're turkey and chicken. Okay.
I don't know. There wasn't.
Just say your attendees. Just say your attendees and call it a day.
Sure. Whatever.
So resorts. How do you compare your 2 Universal stays versus your stays at Disney resorts?
Well, like I said, with Endless Summer, pretty comparable to a Pop or an All-Star. I think, just in terms of price point, though, this is going to win out. If I had a car, and
you're still like 4 years away from being able to rent a car too.
If I had a car and they do charge, to park there, but I'd rather have that than paying for an Uber every day to go elsewhere. Because I'd probably, if I wasn't doing a Run Disney race or something where I needed to kind of be on property, I would almost say stay at Endless Summer if you're looking for a value and you're still going to Disney, and then just drive over to Disney.
And your experience at their premium versus you've now stayed in multiple deluxes at Disney. And how would you compare your room at Portofino to some of the deluxes and deluxe villas you've stayed in?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've stayed at a bunch of deluxes now. I've stayed at like a few
Almost all of
villas.
them.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, none of them have had a bathroom that is the size of this one. So I think just on size alone, this room kind of wins out. Obviously, the price I paid was pretty dang good too, but
well, and then you get the express pass.
yeah, and then getting the express, I think overall the value, I mean, the standard person isn't going to pay the price I did, but overall I think it was the best. It was a better value than anything. I should say I haven't really paid a full price for a deluxe room on Disney property either. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to say because I haven't spent that kind of money. I've either split on rooms or been with someone that has a DVC. So
How about on-site transportation, staying at a Universal resort compared to a Walt Disney World resort?
I never had to wait for a bus. So I walked right out. Bus was right there. Walked on. That's one thing. And that happened in November too when we were at Cabana Bay. And it happened again. I thought maybe it would be worse, because of crowds. And I was at, the big value resort that, I thought maybe I'd have to wait a little bit more. Nope. Got right on buses. Buses were constant. And then for Portofino Bay, you have a boat. The only time they have a bus is for Volcano Bay if you're going to Volcano Bay, but you have a boat to the theme parks or you can walk. And I took the boat once, but otherwise I walked because you're right there. So proximity wise there, you can't beat that either.
All right. So any last thoughts that you want to wrap up? And then when is your next trip traveling, Teetzy?
I don't think there's a whole lot else. You did see the photos, but I did eat at NBC Sports Grill on my last day. It's a kind of a typical sports bar kind of place. Nothing too extraordinary. I enjoyed it. But I will say we did also showed some photos of the tribute shop. That was really cool. There's like 4 rooms inside there, all kind of themed a little differently to Jurassic Park, Jurassic World. You have the John Hammond statue at the end, which is fun. But overall, I really enjoyed everything. There wasn't a whole lot I could complain about on this trip outside of paying for an Uber all the time. But I think, well, as terms of future trips, the only thing I technically have on the books is the 50th anniversary. But we'll see if something else happens before then.
Someone's got to get back to that Velocicoaster as fast as he possibly can. Well, thank you, Teetz, so much for sharing with us. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, Teetz has started uploading daily videos and room tours on our Crescent Lake Club channel. Also, if you haven't done already, hit that red subscribe button, hit that bell notification, because we're about to do a giveaway for a gift card, and it will be a notification only video. So make sure you subscribe and you hit the notification. Just a little bit of quick for people who watch us a lot more. We will not have Wind Down Wednesday tomorrow. We're going to do Theme Park Thursday with Courtney and I. So taking a day off. It's great to have Teetz back. I've missed him. He said my outfit was ridiculous
I
tonight.
did not. I just said it was something. I didn't say it was ridiculous. That was not. I did not use that word.
I think first you said, "What are you wearing?" Anyway, it's nice to have Teetz back. We'll have more with him, and hopefully we'll have an upcoming Crescent Lake Club Live on a Sunday, because we do have our big 50th anniversary trip that we need to start planning. But thank you guys so much for your questions, for watching, and again, hit that red subscribe button, hit that bell notification. Don't forget to check us out at crescentlakeclub.com. I've been writing a bunch of stuff. Courtney's been writing a bunch of stuff. And also follow us on social media. It's so great to spend these nights with you. We appreciate your time. Thank you guys so much. And